How to wake up at 5 a.m. every day.
You don't need to get up at 5 a.m. I'm giving you the permission to not be a 5 a.m. person.
Every day, bombarded by experts, gurus, influencers, AI chatbots, all saying different things.
Red meat is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet.
Red meat, especially beef and pork, are increased risk of colon cancer.
They all sound convincing. They all cite studies. Everyone has testimonials. It's so wacko that if you want to believe that eating only raw steak is the path to enlightenment, I can find you a reel supporting that too, complete with studies. So, how do you know what is actually true? Who do you trust? What do you do? Learn to frame better AI prompts? Go through more studies? Fact check every website? Watch a smarter creator? You can't do that over every little thing, and if you try, you'll go crazy. And repeated studies, such as from the Stevens Institute of Technology, indicate that when people are given more information, they consistently make worse choices. This is important because it directly affects your mental health, how you earn money and manage it, and how you live your life. When we see some people making steady progress, they're often not the most intellectually analytical, they don't endlessly overthink, they commit, act, and adjust based on results. Meanwhile, many people stagnate because they consistently switch routines and strategies every time a new fad comes around. So, what should you do? Stop analyzing altogether? I'm not saying that. Rather, there is a stronger solution. But before discussing it, we must understand the real problem and reach the root cause. You wake up, check your phone, see notifications, headlines, and algorithms competing for your attention. You search one topic and get 50 opinions. One expert says fasting will save you, another says it will destroy you. One says hustle hard, another says hustle culture is toxic. You listen to both, read the comments, consult AI, and end up more confused than before you started. A huge number of adults admit they trust influencer reels for information. When you're scrolling and a video pops up in your feed, you instinctively give it psychological credibility. Not because it is verified, but because it is presented confidently. The creator of that reel looks relatable and reliable to you, but a lot of the content out there is not neutral. It's framed. Harvard Business Review describes something called the framing trap. Information is selectively presented to push a preferred conclusion. An influence might highlight one negative study about a vegetable and suddenly declare it dangerous. Not because the science is settled, but because they are selling an alternative. The goal is not clarity, the goal is persuasion. Think about it, nothing substantial can be understood in few seconds of content. So concluding that something is dangerous based on a single reel is not thoughtful, it's just impulsive. Now let's talk about progress, improving yourself. You see a reel claiming a specific exercise will make your shoulders grow faster. It looks like the perfect shortcut, but even after you change your routine, it doesn't work for you. Later, your trainer explains that the exercise failed because you have posture issues that the reel never accounted for. That viral advice was generic. It wasn't designed for your body, your structure, or your stage of training. So you switched your routine for no solid reason, and in the process, you lost time that could have been spent making real progress, and possibly you messed up your body even more. Tools like ChatGPT respond according to the quality of the inquiry. The clarity, depth, and precision of the answer depend on the clarity, depth, and precision of the question. If you want an accurate solution, you have to clearly describe your situation, the context, the constraints, the variables. Without that, the response can only be general. To get clarity requires depth, patience, and qualified guidance. And if that is true for diet, exercise, career, practical day-to-day life, how much more true must it be when the subject is the self, the very core of your being? The real problem is not simply too much information. The real problem is that the instruments we use to evaluate information are defective. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Vedic sages analyzed that almost all humans live in a fog of illusion due to 4 basic psychological defects. The first defect is easy to understand. We all make mistakes. However intelligent we think we are, we get things wrong. Often. Modern research itself proves this. Experts in science, economics, and other fields are bamboozled by the reproducibility crisis. What does that mean? It means that studies are published. It sounds good, but then when you try to replicate it, you can't. And the conclusions change, and the guidelines are revised, and the experts make bold predictions that fail. Financial forecasts, for instance, weather forecasts. If human beings were reliable instruments of truth, then so-called knowledge would not need constant correction, right? The very fact that what we call knowledge keeps changing shows that we're always making mistakes. Maybe you heard of Bloomberg's economic model, calculating the probability of a US recession within 12 months at 100%. Every variable, every supercomputer, every historical data point was analyzed by some of the smartest analysts on Earth, and they indicated that a crash was unavoidable by October 2023.
Startling headline, Bloomberg Economics finding a 100% probability of a recession within the next 12 months.
Unavoidable, 100%, not 99%, not 99.9%, 100% sure there's going to be a recession in the US. But 2023 ended up being one of the strongest years for the stock market in a decade. The second defect is illusion, accepting something to be what it is not. Our memories are unreliable. Eyewitnesses at a crime scene, they often say all different things about what happened.
It was a tan vest and it had black lining.
He had a long sleeve shirt on with a stripe.
Optical illusions. See the spoon in water and it seems to be bent, or you see a mirage and it looks like water is not there. In a cinema hall, you cry, oh, but it's only light projected on a screen. Or you're running in fear in a dream from something that doesn't exist. Here's another famous example. In a Harvard study, participants were asked to count the number of basketball passes between the players, and they were so focused on the task that nearly half of them failed to notice a man dressed up in a full gorilla suit, jumping into the center of the court, beating his chest for 8 seconds, and then walking off. Their brains, the brains of the students, they literally filtered out a gorilla in the room because they were looking for something else. Cheating, the third defect. Surveys show that a lot of people admit to lying at work, lying to their spouses, and little fibs aside, the academic world is full of data manipulation, plagiarism, and outright fraud, and so much stuff on social media platforms is designed to manipulate you. Someone says, coffee causes cancer, for instance. Technically, under extreme conditions, that could be possible. If you were drinking like 2,000 cups of coffee a day, the risk might become slightly significant. Everyone exaggerates some things or hides other things to make themselves look better. It's all different forms of cheating, and it makes it hard to know what is actually true. Now, another defect is imperfect senses. Just imagine you're standing on the edge of a mountain cliff looking out at the scenery. It's beautiful, the air is clear, you can see everything for miles, but there's a lot more that you can't see beyond the horizon. There are entire cities, oceans, continents, and what we do see is only a tiny fraction of what's out there. We see the huge vista, but we don't see the tiny insects flying around or worms crawling around on the ground. We don't see ultraviolet light or infrared light or radio waves or X-rays or a bunch of other things. So what we call visible reality is only what we see within a narrow bandwidth, and within that bandwidth, the eyes mislead us. What about our ears? We hear only a narrow range of frequencies. We don't hear ultrasonic or infrasonic sounds. Many animals perceive sounds entirely beyond our capacity. What we call silence can simply be our limitation. Then you might argue, well, we have instruments to supplement our senses. Microscopes, telescopes. But instruments are extensions of our imperfect senses. They are designed, calibrated, and interpreted by imperfect human beings. They have margins of error. Different instruments can produce different readings, or even the same instrument can produce different readings at a different time. So the problem is not eliminated by instruments, it's just extended. If the senses are imperfect and the instruments are imperfect, then the knowledge derived from them will also be imperfect. We are trying to derive certainty with faulty tools. These 4 defects show that problems in knowledge transmission are nothing new. Just that in today's world, we are oversaturated with self-made experts in every field dumping their defects on us 24/7. There's always someone with a more perfect routine, a more perfect way to earn money, or a new type of content that seems perfect to us. So, what is right or wrong? Consider this. Generic advice is almost never exactly what you need. We have to work on solutions at an individual level. But now a practical question arises. Are we supposed to stop living, stop making decisions, stop researching, stop thinking? No, you still have to choose what to eat, how to work, how to manage money, how to raise children, how to use technology. So, what is the real solution? The solution is not more analysis. The solution is finding the center, the pivotal point around which all questions, everything about life, are organized. Most people are trying to solve thousands of small questions without clarity about the central one. And when the center is missing, everything feels unstable. Most confusion doesn't come from lack of information. It comes from knowing what is primary and what is secondary. If you do not know who you are, what the goal of life is, what is temporary, what is eternal, then every small decision becomes big. Every new study feels compelling. Every trend feels like it might redefine you because there is no anchor. But when we get our life in perspective, what are we living for? We see everything with clarity and understand what is really essential in our life and what isn't. So sure, questions about what to eat, how to maintain relationships and so on, they'll remain. But the real question is, what is life all about? How can we know? When our senses are limited, we make mistakes, we can easily be misled. If we are to know, the knowledge must come from a source that is not subject to these defects. This is where the Vedic system introduces something profound. Today also, modern culture tells us, start from your own experience, verify everything yourself, trust only what you personally test. It might sound intelligent, but it's impossible. Again, our senses are limited. Life is short. We really don't know much about anything. The Vedic sages saw that all human ideas must be mistaken. We are tiny living beings with tiny intelligence, but knowledge received from higher authority is called descending knowledge. If a child asks, "Who is my father?" can he discover this through research? No. He must hear from authority. Ask his mom. This is descending knowledge. And you accept it in every facet of your life. When you room off on your bike, you trust the engineers who designed it. When you take medicine, you trust the scientists who formulated it. But when it comes to life's important choices and deeper questions like, who am I? What is the goal of existence? Suddenly, everyone becomes a self-made expert. The Vedic system does not promote blind faith. It gives criteria. First, Shastra, scriptural alignment. Authority must align with revealed scripture, especially Bhagavad Gita presented as it is. Bhagavad Gita is not just another trend. It gives eternal knowledge of the self, as relevant today as when it was first spoken. Truth is not manufactured by consensus. So if we are serious about understanding that truth, we must invest in long-form engagement, especially studying, understanding Bhagavad Gita. Second criterion for perfect knowledge is that it should be received in parampara, disciplic succession. Real knowledge doesn't come from someone's personal opinion or speculation or whatever is trending online. It comes through a chain of teachers who faithfully pass on what is given in Shastra. A genuine teacher doesn't invent something new. He simply repeats the truth as it is with realization. And because the message is handed down generation after generation, carefully, without alteration, it remains pure. If you want to become a doctor, what do? You don't collect random medical opinions from strangers online. You don't compare 50 contradictory health blogs. You don't invent your own anatomy. You have to study under a qualified physician who is recognized because he studied under another qualified physician who himself was trained in a recognized medical tradition. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that for a general query about health, you have to study under a physician, but at least you have to know how to filter the right source. So the third criterion that the Vedic sages gave to get perfect knowledge is sadhu, saintly persons. A sadhu lives what he teaches, and he teaches from Shastra. So next time you see a reel where the creator claims to share a life-changing routine or some opinion, ask yourself, does that creator himself stand upon that? What's his source of knowledge? Is it based on knowledge that has been relevant for thousands of years? The chaos we experience today did not exist like this in Vedic civilization because society was built upon Shastric knowledge. Everyone knew that I am in my present situation due to past karmas, and specialists in spiritual knowledge were trained under a qualified guru. So spiritual knowledge in Vedic culture is already refined, already tested, already applied over generations. It's a living tradition, not a marketplace of opinions. The central point of Vedic civilization is one foundational truth. Human life is meant for God realization, not endless consumption. Today we have unlimited data but no agreed purpose. We are pulled in different directions because there's no higher organizing principle. Vedic culture puts spiritual realization in the center. Material sciences are needed also, but they're secondary. They're respected, utilized, but subordinate. You might think, I have to be a sadhu to live like this. But no, here are some practical solutions you can start applying right now. Find correct knowledge by the Vedic system, top-down. That's top-down knowledge. Modern civilization has inverted the hierarchy. Material expertise sits at the top, and spiritual authority is dismissed. So we have technological advancement and existential confusion. The real solution is not more information. It is putting spiritual truth first and everything else in its proper place. Understand that often, the more information we consume, the more confused we become. The world's not going to stop producing information, but you can stop being shaken by it. Now, by understanding the 4 defects of conditioned knowledge and by accepting a descending process for ultimate truth, something powerful happens. You may not solve every material question immediately, but a large chunk of the confusion just falls away. Why? Because you stop demanding absolute certainty from fields that are inherently uncertain. You are no longer internally agitated. And the questions that remain about diet, exercise, routines become lighter. They're no longer existential. They're practical. You make a reasonable choice. You adjust if needed, and you move forward without anxiety, because your foundation is clear. Once you understand what is absolute and what is relative, most confusion dissolves. And when the ultimate goal of life is understood, to revive our forgotten relationship with the Supreme, Krishna, then even a world full of noise won't disturb you. Because clarity does not come from mastering every opinion. It comes from aligning with the highest truth. So if you're serious about getting clarity, then stop sampling endless opinions. Study Bhagavad Gita as it is, carefully. Seek guidance from bona fide sadhus and teachers in disciplic succession. Don't try to reconstruct truth from fragments. Enter the tradition. The world is drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. Reflect deeply, inquire seriously, and act accordingly. Hare Krishna.